In this video, I'll be showing you how you can build these leather bracers for my Warrior Series armor project. Bracers are decorative armor pieces that are worn on the forearms, and this design is affordable, simple, and perfect for learning if you're getting started with crafting leather armor. I'll be showing you how to make these in leather, so the first thing you'll need is leather. Anything medium to heavy weight is fine, but to be more specific, I would suggest 8 to 9 ounce leather, or around 3 to 3.5 millimeters. Leather is sold in different cuts, so you can buy a side of leather, for example, which you would want if you're planning multiple projects. Or for a small project like this, it might make more sense to purchase an affordable pre-cut piece from suppliers like Weaver Leather Supply. They're a supporter of this channel and where we get most of our leather and tools. They have an online store with an incredible selection of everything you'll need to craft this project and a lot more. I would suggest you pick up something to use for punching holes, like this tube punch. And to cut the leather, you can get started with any kind of utility knife. I like to use leather shears myself, but it's also not mandatory. And you'll need something to put the project together, so I would pick up a bag of medium double-capped rivets, which will have more than enough for this build. When it comes to decoration, all I'm going to do is add a decorative edge groove and use a beveler to knock down the corners. To start the assembly, I'll be placing the rivet post into the bottom side pieces, and then I'll join it with the center piece, which will sit on top. The double-capped rivets will normally have just enough friction to hold the caps loosely in place, then I'll go along with a rivet setter and set everything permanently. And you'll need something to strike the setter and the hole punch. If you're just starting out, you can use a common flat-faced hammer for a while, but if you want to take care of your tools, I suggest a basic poly mallet as an affordable option, and it's nice to have a setter for the rivets too. The extra holes on the top and bottom are completely visual, just a small addition of decoration. Now you can bend the bracer into place and see how it fits. You can moisten the edges of the leather and use friction with a tool or some sort of firm material like canvas to smooth the edges a bit, which will aid in comfort. It'll also make it look a little bit nicer. To color the piece, you'll have many options, but one of the common routes is to use leather dye. I'm using Pro Black oil dye here, and applying it with a wool dauber. For such a small project, you can get by with a very small bottle of dye, but you should be aware that leather dye is very potent, and it's not something you can clean easily, or at all in many cases, so take steps to avoid spills and splashes. Then seal the leather with something like an acrylic finish, such as Weaver's Clear Tough Coat, which will prevent the dye from rubbing off, and it will firm the leather up too. To be able to wear the bracers, you have to apply some sort of fixture method, and the most simple method would be to punch some holes along the side, 5 is plenty, and use those holes to lace it up. Or if you'd like to add buckles, there's a free pattern pack for buckle straps and a video guide at the Prince Armory Academy. This tutorial omits a lot of possible detail options, but the philosophy here is that I hope this helps you get started with your first leather crafting project. And when you're ready to move on, just know that this piece is one of many other components in this Warrior Armor full suit, and this Warrior series is just one of many other at varying skill levels. You can start with the Warrior series, learn the basics, and then move on to the Fantasy or Imperial series and start expanding your horizons. And then you can dive into the more advanced projects like the Elven, Berserker, and Dragon series tutorials and patterns. So if any of that sounds like fun, head over to the Prince Armory Academy and take your crafting skills to the next level.